Yeah, I was skeptical if I needed water because these are mostly mango trees. If it was only mango trees, I probably wouldn't have even put it on water. But I put them on water because I have some bananas in between the mango trees that I wanted to get on water. And as you can see, everything's being dug in. And there's the mulch, here's the trees. It is taken months since I got my well put in and I decided I wanted to get these trees on water. And this is an update and it's not a good one. Irrigation guy says everything's ready to go once that new well's hooked up. My well is in, it's working great. The irrigation system is working great. Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Today I am going to be talking about something I've been looking forward to talking about for a really long time. I've been talking about getting irrigation system in my other yard in Mango Land for a long time. I've been going back and forth thinking, do I really need irrigation on mangoes? And I don't, but I have other trees there besides mangoes, and I wanted to get irrigation on that. And it is good to have irrigation on mangoes a couple of times a year. It's good to have, especially during a drought. So I figured I was going to get it in. Now that opened up a whole new chapter in my learning experience here with growing fruit trees. In my current yard, I have an irrigation system. I had a well put in by a friend, and he hooked up PVC pipe all around the yard, and he put these heads on there. And these are traditional heads. Let me turn this around and show you. So these are the heads that I have. This is straight up PVC, and at the top it's a head that adjusts, open and close, midway. That's it. That's all I knew. That's all I knew about irrigation. And when I started that, I didn't even know how to put together a PVC pipe or anything. I didn't know how to glue it or anything, but you learn. So I learned how to do that. So that's all I knew. Now, when it came to get my well in the other yard, I ended up getting a well put in. Then I ended up getting the pump hooked up, and then I had to get the pump set. And now I found an irrigation guy who says he's going to show me something that's so much easier and better than what I've done here with the PVC pipe, and cheaper. So I'm going to show you today what I did or what I'm in the process of doing and discuss a few things I've learned. So here we go. In the meantime, put your comments below what you're doing and what's working for you, and we're going to check it out now. Okay, why did they decide to mow their lawn exactly when I'm about to do a video? Literally, here all day, and now I'm about to do the video, and the guy decides to mow his lawn. Well, hopefully you can hear me, but basically on this, I went completely off what this guy was telling me, and for the most part it was great, or it's going great. I ran into a few problems. Let me show you. Okay, so there's the well I have, and everything looks great with that. And here's the zone. I got 6 zones. I learned how to hook up the zones. I did all that, and everything's still not complete yet. Everything's still as we see in the ground. I guess I'm gonna come back when this guy stops mowing his dumb lawn. I was pretty much listening to the irrigation guy 100% on this, trusting he knows what he's doing. I know he knows what he's doing because he kind of does this for a living. And this is the system he has at his house. So what I did was I first got the well put in. And there are some companies that do all in one, the well, the pump, irrigation. But I kind of tried to get the most cost-effective way. So I found somebody to put a well in at a good price. And then after the well, I had the pump installed, and then after the pump, this guy recommended not going all PVC. He said to do the black poly pipe is what everyone's doing. It's so much easier, but you start it with PVC. So I have 6 zones. I have, for the trees I think I have about 60 trees here, and I have 6 zones. Now again, I wasn't concerned about my mango trees having irrigation on them, even though Alex at Tropical Acres Farm says for that short window per year when they start developing mangoes, if you turn the water on, it'll help you not lose mangoes. Sometimes you might lose up to 25% or more of the mangoes if there is no water at the right time. But you definitely don't need a lot of water on mangoes to grow mangoes. But I did put in some bananas here, and in the front I have a lot of other trees. So I wanted to get irrigation. I went back and forth on this for a long time, but it's happening. So I'm going to show you now what's going on. So there's the pump, and there was an old well here, and working, but they said it wasn't the right size fixture, so they put a new well in. Here's the pump, it's all hooked up, and here are the zones. So the guy that did this for me, he actually did the first zone, and then he showed me what to do and taught me, and I got to do the rest. So I just tubed everything, and this is all the PVC. I tubed everything to go around. I'll show you this area here. So obviously all this has to get under the ground. But basically I'm going to have about 12 trees on each zone. And the PVC is going into the poly pipe, and there's a filter at the end of each zone. So there's a filter at the end. They get the PVC to the poly pipe, and the poly pipe's going all the way around. And all of my poly pipe, my irrigation, I said put it in a square where they meet at a T, and you'll get more pressure at the end as opposed to having just one straight one where you won't have as much pressure at the end. So I got all that set up. It has to get in the ground, but I'll be able to get all these trees now on water. I ran into a problem. I'm going to tell you the issue, but I also put another zone here where there's no trees, because this is going to allow me to grow in pots and get water on the trees in the pots without having to water them every day. So I'm excited about that. The whole yard is ready to be put in. I got the poly pipe, I got all the water and everything. So here was the issue. In my other yard, what I've been using, I've been able to adjust and shut off. And what the irrigation guy recommended to me here was what to use at the end of the tree. I believe those other PVC pipes are called bubblers. But here, the irrigation guy recommended this to me, and I never did this before. It's pretty cool. So you just go right into the black poly pipe. You come out, and then there's these. Now these are called MaxiJet 360 micro sprayers, and they're really cool the way they work. They go up to 3 to 10 feet around, which is really cool. But they're not adjustable, and you can't shut them off. For me, that's a big issue, because I have trees like this butterscotch sapodilla that I want on all the time, possibly. But I have some other trees, like my mangoes, where I don't want on all the time. So I like, with my bubblers, I could turn them on and off. So after ordering a bunch of these, that was a big disappointment. So now what was I going to use? So that's what I've been studying the last couple of days and asking a lot of people. And a lot of people have been giving me a lot of different answers. I don't know if they knew I got this far already, but some people say they just buy these at Home Depot, the adjustable ones, and they're fine. Everyone seems to have their favorite of what's been working. I did find some adjustable ones online that I'm going to get and test and see how they are. But warning, if you're new to this and you're doing something like that, if you don't have to shut the trees off, like my irrigation guy, he gets these, he loves these because they give such a great distance that they cover. Unlike the bubblers, they only cover pretty much near where the water comes out of the bubble. It's almost like a massive drip system. But these, they spray. They're sprayers, and they spray out pretty far. The problem is these aren't adjustable. My irrigation guy, he doesn't mind. He leaves his on all the time. But for me, that's an issue, because I want to leave everything on all the time except my mangoes. So thankfully, I only installed those in this side, and there's only one temporary mango there. So I'm good, because I want to leave these on all the time. But most of my mango trees have to go with the adjustable ones. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the adjustable ones. I'm going to get everything in the ground, dug in, and then I'm going to turn it on and show you how these actually spray and don't spray. So this is my neighbor, and he kind of taught me how to do the PVC pipe with the bubblers. And he put this one on a slant to get them to his tree. You see, these are the bubblers, and they're pretty much going to drip. They come out a little, but not as much. And this might be stronger because of the PVC, but it's much more expensive, much more work. And most people are using the poly pipe, the black bendable poly pipe these days, from what I understand. But the problem with PVC also is, with the black poly pipe, you can easily add more heads if you need to. With this PVC, if I want to add something more, I gotta really dig it up, cut it, paste it. It's not as simple. So I wanted to show you the other yard and give you an idea of what's happening over there. And of course, this is the day that everyone decides to mow their lawn when I'm out here filming. So everything's not complete yet, but I'll just give you an idea what I did with the zones and how I set them up in squares where they all run off a T. There's none going where they're just going, so the flow will be better. But this is the one area of the front yard. This one is actually complete, this zone. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trees in this zone. Like I said, only one mango over there, which is a temporary mango, because this mamey is going to grow big, and I'm going to have to remove that mango. Now in the front, I never thought I'd have these on water, but I was able to get them on water. The coconut and also the Sermon cherry. And you see they go right into the bubbler. Yes, I still gotta bury these, but that's this side. Now the other side, and the main reason I got this whole system was because of the front yard you just saw in this area. Though I have a good amount of mangoes here, I got a bunch of bananas that I need to get water on. And I put this tree in here, which is a China jackfruit. Then I have a seedling of a China jackfruit. I have this white sapote. And I also have this jackfruit. So I got all of this ready to go. This zoned up, this front yard. That's the second zone. Now the third zone is, here are some mango trees. And there's a banana that I put between the mango trees. So this is the third zone. And then I have my fourth zone, which is this corner. It's almost like split up in 4 quarters, my yard. That's the fourth zone. Or that's the third. Then there's the fourth. So it's 1, then in the front, 1, 2, 3, that's 5, and then the one in the middle that I showed you for the potted plants. So I'm excited to get all this in the ground. And it's going to be really nice. Trees are finally going to get water. Okay, here's another day. I'm putting in the irrigation and everything's going well. Almost done installing it. I just gonna have to dig it next, but let me show you what I did. So here is the zones all set up that I described the other day. And what I have here under these boxes, this is a filter. So these filters, every couple of months or longer, I could clean the filters. And these filters go out to the zones. And like I said, all the zones are on a T and in one big square, so they all meet up so the pressure will be equal all the way around, as opposed to me just going all the way and not connecting it to a T. And then here I have the poly pipe going into the 1/4 inch to the dripper. And these drippers are adjustable drippers. After doing a lot of research, I ended up getting these adjustable drippers. I'll put the link below to everything I have, but these were, I did a lot of research. There were a lot of different types of drippers out there. I wasn't sure which ones to get. And somebody recommended these, and they're great because these turn on and off. And that's why it's important, because I don't want these mangoes on most of the year. But I want to be able to easily turn them on and off when I do want them on. As opposed to the drippers I showed you up front, which are excellent, but they don't shut off, so they weren't going to work for me. So I just got to get everything in under the ground here and then test everything out. Okay, here's the progression of the yard as we're digging everything up. Pipes are going in the ground. Everything's looking good. A lot of digging. A lot of digging, and here is a box with the filter. Come up here, and that's the filter, how it looks. Okay, that's the progression so far. All right, everybody, this is my irrigation guy. He's the guy that put it in. His name's Ken. Ken, thank you for doing this yard. Thank
you're welcome.
For setting up the zones and everything.
Sure, you're welcome. No problem. I'm glad that we were able to get some water on your trees.
Any advice for people that are looking to do something like this?
I mean, just keep it simple. I mean, that's the basic thing. It's pretty a basic watering system, and you know, don't overthink it. You know, just keep it simple.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, everybody. It's a sunny afternoon here, and it's time to dig in my irrigation system that we got done. I'm really excited. Been waiting for this to get my yard back, but let me show you how it's going. Well, basically, I was going back and forth as if I should water the trees or not. The mango trees, because they really don't need water. But I know there comes that time of year when you do get those little baby mangoes. If you water them at that time, it'll prevent the tree from dropping some mangoes, maybe up to 25% of the mangoes. So I decided to put an irrigation system in, and I'll show you now. Okay, everybody, today's the day we are getting our irrigation put in, and we put it in. We're actually digging it up and digging it in today, so I'm really excited. So in my other house, I went with strictly PVC all the way to the trees with a bubbler. But here, I'm doing it different. Here, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll turn this around. Here is the main headquarters here. And I got PVC going, but only up to a certain point. And then I switched to the black poly pipe. And the black poly pipe will go closer to the trees. And then as I get closer to the trees, I'm coming off a jet spray and not a bubbler. Now with the poly pipe, with the PVC pipe and the bubbler, you get many gallons in a couple of minutes. This is 18 gallons per hour. So if I leave this on for a half hour, you're looking at 9 gallons on these sprayers. It might even be a little bit less. But this is the pipe coming off the black poly pipe. So this is a little new system the way I'm doing it now. All right, everybody, here I am back in the yard. The irrigation guy Ken is coming back today, hopefully to finish off the system, but everything's in the ground now. Everything's buried in the ground. And I got all the trees now have irrigation on them. And this one's interesting because I have the first ones I got that do not turn off. And then I put the ones that turn off. Just as a test, I had them next to each other. But everything's buried in the ground. And we're just waiting for Ken to show up. But as the grass is growing, we just mowed the lawn. Everything's looking great. Here's the system in the ground. So Ken's coming today to look at this. This is a reset controller. And that controls which zone works. So he's coming to just fix that up. But as everything's in the ground, I just wanted to show everybody what I did here. So this area here, there were no trees. This is the drain field area. That's why I don't have any trees here, but I put my potted plants here that are growing. And now they're on irrigation. So I don't have to water these. They'll grow, they'll get the sun. I can up pot these to 25 and maybe 44 gallon pots. And they have an area to grow now. This is an abiu, which grows great in a pot. It'll grow really well. It's looking good. I gotta just secure it a little bit more tighter. I just upgraded it to this 15 gallon. Then I have this Bombay. This Bombay grows really tall, but I'm going to keep it in a pot as an experiment because Orlando Gardner told me keep those big trees in pots. They'll limit the growth and you'll still get some mangoes. I have this seedless avocado from Laura Farms. I have a Jabba Caba, and this is a Giselle mango, and I have room for another one. So I want to show you this here. This is different than the other sprays I had because the sprays under the trees spread out a lot. And no sprays will spread out, not just water root, but for the potted plants, those weren't going to work because I want to wet the soil in the pot and not coming out of the pot. So I got these from Amazon. And these work really well. I'll put a link below. These work really well. Check out my Amazon store products. These come out and they stay right in here. So now I have run into an interesting situation. The filters are getting filled with sand. And Ken tells me, and the well guy tells me I just gotta wait. And after a while the sand won't come anymore. But I have to clean the filters for this to work. So I'm just figuring that part out. But the trees are looking great. And again, we just got a big rain. This is a fruit cocktail tree. We just got a big rain, but these trees haven't been on water. Here's a banana tree. There's my newest tree that I put in the ground that I'm excited about. That's a guava. We'll see how that does. Now it's interesting because I have a guava in a pot that's doing much better than that. But again, we'll see how that does. And I have a new video coming out about a mango hedge. And here's a mango hedge I got. And that's so interesting. That's my first graft. That's a sweet tart. I grafted that myself, my first rootstock graft. I got this pickering from my friend Julian. Oh, no. I got this pickering from Leaf's yard. And then here I have a seedling. And there I have a Indian mango. I forgot the name of that. And so that's more of a hedge. And there's an Edgar. But I'll show you this here. This tree I just put here was a seedling. And I just put this tree here because it was close to this tree. I didn't know how it was going to grow. But it took and it was growing nicely. So I put a bunch of grafts on here. And some took and some didn't. You see that one didn't take. But these two took. This one took. And this one took. So I don't know the exact varieties I put on here. It has to be, I believe one of these is a Timor, which is the Egyptian mango. And one of these might be a Karen Michelle. So I'm not 100% sure yet. So we'll have to stay tuned and see for that. But that's quite interesting. These leaves, even though they're small, they look much more skinnier than these leaves. So leaf identification hopefully will tell me a good amount. But those are some of the grafts I put on there. So it has to be one of the two. I had some other grafts that didn't take. So we'll see how they go. Alright, so I just wanted to give you all an update. Everything's dug in. Lawn is mowed. Ken's coming today. I got these trees in the ground here. Really excited. And we'll be back for an update. Here I am in Mango Land, everybody, and it is taken months since I got my well put in and I decided I wanted to get these trees on water. And this is an update and it's not a good one. I decided I was going to get water, and I searched around and looked for a well, and I found somebody that was willing to drill a well for $1,000, going down 80 feet. Now the well that I have on my other property is only 18 feet and does fine. 80 feet, I figured this is going to be great. They came in with the truck. The other one was done by hand, by a friend. This was a professional guy who came in with the truck, dug the well, and then I had the well there for about 6 months until my irrigation, well, I had the well hooked up to the pump. Then my irrigation guy finally got here a little while ago, and he started hooking up all the irrigation to the well. But I ran into a problem because it kept breaking. It kept getting jammed up. Even before I got the irrigation system set up, I kept having to reset the check valve because it kept getting messed up. And there was a bunch of sand in my well, and he said just leave it running. So I left it running for maybe 20 or 30 hours. The irrigation guy came, hooked everything up, kept having issues. And the irrigation guy said, look, there's just too much sand in your well. It's not supposed to be that way. Called some other well guys up, and they all said the same thing. So I called the well guy, and I said there's sand still coming up from my well, like handfuls of sand, after running it for 30, maybe 40 hours. He goes, well, I'm going to give you a refund and have a good day. So now I got to get another well put in. That's the bad news. The good news is that well guy also confirmed that it shouldn't be that way. After a couple of hours, there should be no sand coming up. Get the new well put in, you won't have an issue. And the other good news is everything's already hooked up. So once the well is hooked up, I'll turn this around, I'll show you. That's where the other well is. And once the well is hooked up, everything else is all hooked up and ready to go. So everything's in the ground, everything's buried. Every tree has its own emitter. So we are ready to go. So now here's another issue I ran into. The well is over here. The driveway is over there, and when trucks and things come in, this is cutting it really close because of that orange essence tree over there, that the truck or something might come over this. Now I usually don't have trucks coming in here, but I do have trucks dropping off these loads of mulch quite often. So that's like the limit of where I want to go into the driveway. Well, the new well guy came and said, we want to get it close to that one so we could rehook it up to what's already existing, but we might have to go a little bit more out. And I don't really want people driving over the well, and that puts me right in the path of my driveway. So hopefully they'll get the well somewhat a little closer to the house so it won't have an issue with the driveway. So we're going to have to see. So it's been quite a while, but I'm pretty confident because even though I didn't get a great price on a new well, or at least I don't think I did, the guy said $2,600. So the good news is the first guy did refund me the $1,000, so that's good. So for another $1,600, I'll get a well that works. I'll take it. Everything else is hooked up. Irrigation guy says everything's ready to go once that new well's hooked up. So I have an appointment for the well to get hooked up. Now it's the holiday season, so nobody's working this week. So hopefully next week will come. We'll get a new well in, and everything will work, and everything will be ready to go. The irrigation will be on. And then the trees that are not mango trees will be able to get the water they need, the bananas and a few other trees I have in this yard. Alright everybody, in this long process, he actually didn't come the following week. So I continued my search for somebody to dig a well, and I found another person, and they sounded great, but they didn't follow through, which is good because there were more money. But then I found this guy and this place, Palm Beach Well Drilling. This guy was actually recommended to me first by Alex at Tropical Acres Farms, and this guy came and spoke to me about the situation, and he also grows fruit trees himself. He bought over 100 mango trees from Alex at Tropical Acres Farms. So in this clip, you're going to see he even called me up and said, come on over, we're about to hit water. And here he is reaching water out of the well that he put in. The other thing is, it was a good amount of money, but he told me if I'm using it for irrigation purposes only, he don't have to go 100 feet. You know, if I'm going to go just 50 feet, I mean, if I'm just going to be irrigating my trees, you know, it doesn't matter if there's more iron in the water. As long as I'm not spraying it against the house, it won't stain. And I don't have any overhead sprinklers, which I don't. So he was willing to work with me. And we ended up putting a well around 50 feet, which is all I need. My well in my property next door is 18 feet. So I just need water on my trees. I didn't care about the extra iron. So he pretty much gave me the well at a great price. It was like half the price. It was like $2,000 for the well. And here we are reaching water for the first time. He assured me there'd be no sand issues. And here he is pulling out the water for the first time. And he's going to show me. Now when I did this test in the bucket, after 40 hours in my previous well, the bucket was filled with sand, white sand. Here's the well he put in. And he also hooked me up with a great location for the well, because there was the older well and there's the new well. But that's not going to be an issue with the cars. But as you can see, he's pouring the water in the bucket, and he's going to show me. He's pouring the water out now. When I did this previously, it was sand at the bottom of this. And this is after 15 minutes, not 40 hours. And look, he shows me no sand. Absolutely great news. Great news. Exactly what I wanted. So I'm really excited, and I can't recommend this company enough. They were wonderful. PB Well Drilling. I'll put their link in the video below. And fresh water is now coming out. We have water. We struck water. This is a well that I'm putting in for my irrigation system. And we got nice clean water that's going to go on all these trees. All right, in this process, the pump's being fixed up here. And this is the well that he's putting in. Muchas gracias. Okay, and this is Yandri. He owns Palm Beach Well Drilling. He has, how many mango trees do you have?
About 100.
100 mango trees. So this guy knows about putting in wells, but he also knows about hooking irrigation up. So if anyone's looking for this, I'm going to put his contact information below. Yeah. We were just talking about mango trees. So how many places can you get a well put in? And the guy has more mango trees than you. That's amazing. Wow. I had this on there. And this shuts off the pump if it's not getting water. But we're going to put it up with that control box instead. And for people that are interested, you were saying this is like when... This is best for when... Like what do they use these for? For a water system. To shut it off when it's not getting water, right?
It does all kinds of different things. It uses the max potential of the pump. Typically, they use them for like ROs or in the to replace like a pressure tank or all those different uses.
All right, everybody. This is Yandri, Palm Beach
Well drilling.
Well Drilling.
Yep.
Yandri, how many fruit trees do you have?
About 100.
About 100.
Yeah.
What do you think of irrigating the fruit trees and getting hooked up to a well versus just doing it versus with city water?
All day long. You know, no chemicals in your well water. It's all natural minerals.
Now, how deep does somebody want to go if they're only going to do trees?
It all depends on the location you're in, where the best access to the best water in the area is. You know.
Yeah.
Some of them are 40 foot, some of them are 100, some are 200, you know, just wherever that point of the best
mineral content is, that's where you want to be.
Besides doing the wells, you also hook up the pumps and irrigation, or no?
We do pumps and wells. We just don't touch the irrigation systems.
Okay. Do you know a lot of people that get wells from you? Are they doing it for irrigating their fruit
both.
trees or
Yeah,
for
both.
everything?
We do wells for domestic water, for commercial buildings, for mango farms and all kinds of fruit farms, for everything, anything and everything there is to do.
Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but the mango trees, once they hit a certain height, you don't really need to irrigate them, right?
I guess it's better to stress them out a little bit so they fruit better.
I mean, older trees don't need.
Older trees don't need a whole lot, no, because they can, unless you're in an area where, maybe like where there's an elevation where they're very far from the water table.
Sure.
If the water table's 50 foot underneath you, you're gonna want to water anyways, because that tree can't get to the 50 foot water table.
What's the areas you serve for your company?
Palm City to Boca.
Palm City to Boca.
Yeah. And
All right.
Out all the way to Laxahedge.
Tell us your phone number.
Yeah, 561-718-1102.
Thanks for helping me out here.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. All right, everybody. Final update. My well is in. It's working great. The irrigation system is working great. One issue I ran into with this install, this amazing guy from Palm Beach Well Drilling, he was very nice to tell me when I left. He looked at my trees, and most of my trees that are on mangoes have the adjusters turned off. And I only want them on maybe 1 month a year. And he looked at all the trees that I had that were off and on, and there's not that many trees. I have a couple of bananas, some white sapote, some custard apples. I don't have many sprinkles on. He said the pump is capable of putting out up to 50 gallons per minute, and I'm not using all that water. And my irrigation guy set up 6 zones for me. And in all fairness to him, he didn't know that I was going to do the adjustable emitters and that everything was going to be open. But even then, it still wasn't using the proper amount of water. So what the well guy told me was, and he made it clear he's not an irrigation guy, but this is what he knows. And as you see, he has a lot of trees too. If this pump is putting out more water than I'm using up, if you're putting out less water, you might have flow issues of getting water to the trees. But if it's putting out more water, the water that's not being used is going to kind of recycle and keep going back and forth. And it's going to heat up and start to boil. And it could melt some of the parts in the pump and some of the other parts. So what his suggestion was, first he said to add up all the trees and find out how much water per minute I'm actually getting. But he said I should have all these 6 zones on possibly just one zone. Or just run them all at one time. Run all 6 zones at one time. Well, I did that, and it was definitely more than enough pressure because all my trees were getting water. Hallelujah. But possibly can save my pump. So I just added all my trees. I haven't figured it out yet how many water I'm doing. He said even then it might not be enough. So I'm going to add it up and see. He said I should be getting at least 10 gallons a minute from the trees I'm using. If I'm not getting at least 10 gallons per minute, that pump that could possibly put out 50 gallons per minute. And varying, that's possible, but it's probably putting out less. But still, he's trying to help me with the pump. This guy was great. If anyone's looking to drill a well, he did a very professional job. There it is. Now, that other well I had that was no good was in this area over here. So he got it even closer to the pump, which I wanted, because I don't want it to be in my path, as I was saying. He hooked me up. He's a great well driller. And then he also installs the pumps, or hooks them up. So when I originally got my well, I had to get a different guy to hook up the pump, then my irrigation guy, but this guy did it all. So, well, he didn't do the irrigation part, but he did the hooking the pump up to this. He did the relay. Now, in my last video, I had a funny looking thing here. That was to shut off, if something goes wrong, to shut off the pump so it doesn't mess up the pump. He didn't recommend that. He said that's for bigger systems, and it's also for systems That's some issues with that, but he just said go with the relay here and just do it like this. And I'm very impressed with him. And the great thing is I have water now. So I am going to go ahead with his suggestion and do all my trees on one zone, one pump, or have them all the zones at the same time. I'm going to do that. And I share this with you because if any of you have this experience or you're planning on doing a well, keep these things in mind. The other thing is I got to add everything up and just make sure I still have enough. But it's done. I finally got my well. It's been a while. I mean, I first started this process almost a year ago, and my irrigation guy wasn't available in the summer to do this, so I had to wait till the fall. He put that in. I had so many problems with the sand from the well that was put in bad. But finally, I'm getting water, and I'm feeling good about that. And so are my trees. All right, everybody, if you have any comments or questions, post them below. Thank you for joining me on this little journey here, and I'm going to start to add even more trees, and I know I have enough water to do this. Now I only went 10 feet down. That was another thing he said. He said, you know, he can go a lot deeper, but for 10 feet, he gave me, I went 50 feet down. And he said, you're gonna get a lot of iron. If you're spraying near a house, it's gonna mess up the walls. If you're spraying overhead, it's gonna mess up things. But if you're spraying just under the trees, it's not a problem. So I got the well for like half the price because I didn't go down 100 feet. I only went about 50 feet. So that was another good thing. I checked with several people that know this stuff, and they said 50 feet is fine if you can pull up water. The iron isn't going to make a difference one way or the other. Somebody suggested to me and said the iron is actually good for the trees, but I don't know how much they know, because other people said, you know, it's not going to help or hurt. The iron in that water is not really going to affect the tree one way or the other. So that's the update, and hopefully not have any other problems with that. Finally got a well. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Put your comments or questions below. Have a great day and keep growing.